Hey, welcome to our Gulp review of Terminator 3 Dark Fate here on Cinema Gulp. I'm Ben, and you've heard it for years and years and years. This character saying, I'll be back, I'll be back. So let's welcome back John.
Oh, I'm back. It's me, it's John, finally back on Cinema Gulp.
Yes.
And we're here to do some drinking and talking about Terminator movies. One of my favorite film franchises.
Of all time.
Back on screen. Two of my three favorite movies are Terminator movies.
And I gotta say, I'm celebrating and I'm very happy. One, because John is back, but two, because I liked Terminator Dark Fate. And in honor of all things Terminator, I got this Lost Abbey Judgment Day I'm gonna pop open.
That is a perfect pick right there. And I got me a Stella right here. So let's get to drinking
Woo!
and talking Terminator.
All right, you first, man. Welcome back. It's your time. Stage is yours, my friend.
Well, I enjoyed this movie too. I had a good time with this movie.
Who would have thought? Just real quickly, who would have thought we'd be talking about a Terminator movie on Cinema Gulp that doesn't suck?
That doesn't suck. Well, there's things I've liked about some of the Terminator sequels since Terminator 2.
Me too.
Little bits of each one. Elements. They've tried to do interesting things. They've tried to rewrite history to some degree in these movies. And this one probably does the best job of rewriting the history.
Yeah.
Fixing some of the flaws that they've set up over the last three movies leading up to this one.
I think because they kept it simple.
Yeah, they kept it simple.
Cheers, buddy.
Glad to be back. Basically, it's really good to have Sarah Connor back. That's what
Yeah.
makes this movie. I think some of the other critics were kind of raving about how she owns this movie. She proves in this movie that you don't need Arnold to make a Terminator movie work. And I agree with that. Although I really enjoyed when Arnold finally shows up in this movie.
He doesn't need to be the central focus.
Exactly.
He's finally used properly in this
Well, I'm
one.
okay with him not being in this movie. Like if he never showed up, I still think I would have enjoyed this movie. But once he did, it just added another element, another layer that made this movie a lot of fun.
Yeah,
and actually
yeah.
added a lot of humor.
It did. It's entertaining right up front. The movie gets going right away. It's got some bleakness to it, which harkens back to Terminator 2, kind of that tone. I really thought the first hour of this movie felt like a direct sequel to Terminator 2. All the stuff in Mexico. A lot of the way the action was shot, very intense, very high stakes. A lot of just visceral punches and good fights and sound and yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that it added that tone that you got from the first two back a little bit that you lost when he starts putting on Elton John sunglasses and doing some of the silly stuff that happened in later sequels. There's still elements of it that feel like those later sequels, though, where it's got more humor than the first two. And there's actually some really violent moments in this movie, but it didn't hit me as visceral as obviously, I mean, James Cameron behind the camera just does something different than most other directors. Yeah. And I really like Tim Miller as an action director. I think he had some really great action scenes in this movie, but it didn't necessarily grab me as visceral as some other scenes in definitely the first two Terminator movies, but just even other action movies that are able to kind of get my blood pumping. I was enjoying it, but I wasn't totally engaged.
James Cameron, and you can't really compare any Terminator movie to Terminator 2 or even Terminator 1. Tim Miller really shows his stuntman past and his second unit past and stuff like that by the way he shoots action. And I think the action is just as good if you think of it in your head after you watch it as like, wow, that was an amazing car chase. The thing that Cameron does is he keeps you involved with the characters so much during high stakes action scenes.
The emotions are still there.
They're still there, and it's almost like we're checking back with them to see how they're doing. John, we're always watching Edward Furlong in that second one. They're always cutting back to him to see how scared he is and stuff like that. They do that a little bit in this one, but it's mostly like you have this one, and they're chasing each other in a really cool car chase. I was so happy watching that car chase. The sound, the cool truck, whatever those things are, has a little pooper scooper on it or whatever.
Yeah, it was like a snowplow, but you don't have any snow plows in Mexico City, so I'm not sure what that was.
I think it was just like a dirt digger thing, but it's just like hopping cars. It was a really cool little added thing on there.
I did like the Mexico setting to some degree. Like, when I was thinking about it, it was like, yeah, we do need a change. I think every Terminator movie except for Salvation, and probably even Salvation, is set in California.
Yeah.
So it was nice to have somewhat of a different setting. We do get Edward Furlong back.
Do we?
We don't want to spoil any surprises, but Edward Furlong apparently is back. So yeah, it was fun to see, some of the things that they bring back. I really enjoyed all that. One thing I think I didn't enjoy in this movie, and it's one of the things that makes 1 and 2 work so well, is you really do fall in love with and get behind and root for Sarah in the first film. You really do get behind and root for John in the second film. Even though John's kind of a snot-nosed, annoying kid at times, you fall in love with that kid, or at least I did. I mean, Edward Furlong is not the greatest actor, but he makes that role really believable in that second film.
No, absolutely. By the end of his journey in that movie, for sure.
The lead of this film are the person being protected in the film. Her name's Danny. It's just not a compelling character. They don't do enough with her backstory or to make her an interesting character, and her acting just didn't sell it for me the way that the other characters who are the focus and who we're trying to save and protect through the whole film. Yeah, it just didn't work for me.
Yeah, I agree with you on her acting. It was just the weakest of the bunch. But I feel the bigger problem was because the movie just hits the ground running so fast, we don't spend enough time with her to even know why should we care about her at all. She seems like she's a good person. She cares about her family. She has a job, and that's all you really know. And then it's off and it's to the races from there. Like Terminator 1, like I was telling you right after we watched it, like you follow her through like a whole day and night of her life first before the shit hits the fan. And this one, it just doesn't work that way. So it's hard to get behind a character who is introduced so quickly,
Yeah. What's her name?
Mackenzie
Davis' character was awesome. I really enjoyed her. I thought she was more interesting than I thought she was going to be, and kind of a badass in this movie.
She's the hero of the movie.
For sure.
There's a lot of like cool protagonist heroes in this movie. That's one thing I like about it. It's more of a group effort thing. It's the first time we've really seen that. But she's the hero of the movie, in my opinion.
Well, and hopefully this isn't giving it any away, but once you get to the scenes that Arnold is involved in, it was kind of cool seeing, even though I didn't care much about Danny, the girl who's being protected, when you see she's got these 3 totally badass but totally different protectors, like all there with, Sarah unto herself is almost a Terminator at this point.
Yeah.
She holds her own with these Terminators in this movie like no one's business.
For her age, she can get tossed around and get right back up.
I mean, it's a movie. It's unbelievable. But still, it was badass seeing her back and kicking ass and destroying Terminators.
Hearing they're bringing Linda Hamilton back, first you're like, can she pull this off or whatever?
After seeing Halloween last year, I was really worried about bringing an actress back.
Yeah, and she's
to a role 20, 40 years later.
She's still, you could tell she got back in shape again. I don't know if she ever went out of shape, but like she still had like the Sarah Connor body. I mean, obviously age happens, and she still looks good. She's still like, she's just got the energy still. It's still there, but she's seasoned because it's what I would have always thought would have happened to Sarah Connor. Like she's got the pain behind the eyes still. She doesn't trust anyone. Like she's still on the lookout of everything. It's kind of like a sad existence.
Yeah,
like,
the character, it did seem like this was where the character would go.
Yeah, for the most part.
I was hoping for maybe she has some really emotional scenes that she gets to play out in Terminator 2. In fact, you get to see one replayed at the beginning of this film to some degree.
And that one's so good.
But I guess his film never really was going to go that...
it gave her 2 or 3, I thought. Where
that emotional, but I was hoping for that.
Sorry, I didn't... Yeah, I do think that there's I don't want to give away the scene, but like when she is, in a scene with Schwarzenegger, and you kind of see it's in the trailers that she's not happy to see whoever this version of the Terminator is. Mm-hmm. She has a pretty good emotional kind of breakdown in that scene, but
I did love their chemistry though. Once it gets going with the two of them, on screen and kind of bantering between each other, there's some great banter between each other and nice chemistry. Just thinking like, man, these two really haven't been on screen since Terminator 2, and it's fun to see them back together.
Yeah, emotional chills, we'll say. Not tears, emotional chills in that scene. Because, again, this movie is a direct sequel to Terminator 2. They didn't spew that out and shove it up your a-hole the way that Halloween did, where, cancel all the other movies. Like, they just kind of let you assume that Sarah Connor's in it, so it's got to be kind of a retcon to some extent. But, like, the beats and like going like, wow, I'm watching a movie where I'm catching up with some of my favorite characters in all of movies as a kid. Like I haven't seen Sarah Connor, played by Linda Hamilton, talking on screen since I was a little kid, you know. And it's like, and the fact that she can come back and fill that role so good. She doesn't get the same character development, maybe some of the dialogue, but she has some really good scenes, and she does, and she still just like rocks the action. Her and those like 18 stunt doubles, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
But she rocks the action, and she's very convincing, and so is he. He looks like he's more jacked up than he was for the last Terminator, I think.
Arnold, yeah. No, I thought they were all convincing back in their roles. They did a good job. Some of the things you were pointing out, the way it's set up to progress, is kind of interesting and creates a cyclical feel to the series, which
absolutely
is expected. You know, you got to bring things back around.
But it felt poetic and genuine in the story instead of this movie. Not once to me, and you may disagree, and that's fine because I could see that. I didn't feel this movie was trying to set up a new franchise. Not really. Not in your face. Like maybe they leave things open, obviously, but it never felt like. Because for me, I don't know where this franchise is going. I don't know how this one's gonna do.
I think the producers are a little wait and see.
Well, but I've been watching. I watched it like this is thank you that this exists and that it's good. Perfect send off. I need no more.
Yeah.
And it felt like you could let that happen. It's not like, hey, it's not just setting up these Easter eggs like that Genesis one did.
It's nice to meet you.
Because it deals with time travel from the beginning, you can always just kind of say some of these films are alternate timelines.
Yeah.
So it kind of all can still work for me, even though something like Salvation, I don't even know if I ever want to watch again or care to include it in the timeline. And I don't even know what's going on with Genesis. Like, does that connect to any of these other ones? I'd have to go back and watch and really see how well it does connect.
Indicates that you're fit guardian for Sarah Connor.
You know you're not her dad, right?
Oh, you both just really need to stop it.
But they each can be their own little tangent. But this connects so well to 1 and 2 that it's nice that you have this you can have this nice little 3-part film series, and then you got 3 others that you can watch that are these
They're
other
anthology
random
Elseworlds. I think Genesis is kind of like the franchise's version of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. And then like Salvation is maybe like an episode of Band of Brothers, only not good. I want to know what you think about the new Terminator.
Well, I wasn't impressed. They've been spinning their wheels with the Terminator design.
Oh yeah.
And everybody knows this.
That's putting it
since
nicely.
Part 2,
yeah.
They just can't really come up with something. I don't even know what should be a better Terminator design.
Hey guys, see this? Just have another one of these.
Yeah.
Just stronger.
Just make it
a new
menacing.
kind of metal.
Yeah, just really like.
Why does everything have to liquefy? What was it called? The Rev 4?
The Rav 4.
At least it's not a T.
No, it was a Rev 9. A Rav 4 is a Toyota. But I don't know. I didn't like even the name would seem kind of not menacing enough for me. I immediately thought of the stupid Toyota car. So there just it wasn't enough menace behind the eyes of the actor. I know you said you've seen him in something before. I had never seen him.
Whoever you give this movie to, I want to talk about James Cameron having finally actually a lot to do with the Terminator movie, and I think it shows because not in the direction because he didn't direct it, but where the story goes, how certain characters are treated. And then little tonal things, and I believe in editing things because I heard he was a big pain in the ass in the editing bay in this movie. So when you remember, this is the guy that did the first Deadpool movie, and the humor that is in that movie. This one, I like that it is restrained. Yeah, there's comedy in it, and Arnold Schwarzenegger is actually fucking hilarious in this movie. Won't give anything away, but he's really funny. He is funny. So I see more of the Tim Miller kind of stamp of that side in the second half, but I really do encourage people to go see this movie if you like Terminator but have just been kicked in the balls too many times by this franchise. I was nervous. He was nervous. I almost didn't even care. I was trying to talk myself out of this. I'm really glad I saw it. Like, it's not life changing, but man, if this is it, I'm perfectly happy with that. Until 10 or 15 years when they want to redo all these fucking things.
I'd like to say it was good enough that if the audience showed up, you know, that it would make some money, but then they will make another one and they'll just kind of screw up whatever they tried to come up with in this film to give some closure to bad sequels They're gonna make a bad sequel to this, I bet.
Yeah. You can't shoehorn Arnold anymore. He's done.
Yeah, he's
Arnold,
done.
run for fucking Senate or something so you can't make movies
he's
anymore.
Done.
Yeah, man, I dug it. Linda Hamilton is still the queen of everything. It's so good to see her back kicking ass. I gotta go 7.75 gulps
Nice.
for me.
I enjoyed the characters that we love from the series coming back. They did a great job. A couple of the new characters, at least the Mackenzie Davis character, was kick-ass. I enjoyed her. In typical Terminator form, there was a lot of cool vehicular carnage all throughout the movie. Pacing was pretty good. I thought the movie, it starts off quick, it keeps going, doesn't really slow down. Even in a couple of the scenes where it slowed down, it still kept my interest. So I was there for the whole ride. I did see it getting over the top towards the end. There was a couple action scenes that were just ramping up and getting bigger, but we expect that in a Terminator movie. It kind of concluded the way I thought, big factory kind of conclusion, but that's what we've come to love from Terminator movies, and it
Always
gave
in
me
a factory.
I'd say that its biggest flaw for me that holds it back, that gives it kind of a lower score, where I wish I could have been more engaged, was that main character. I'm coming down a little bit from you on the score there. I'm going to give this a 6, a solid 6.
6 is good. 6 is good. All right, cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers to John's return, and cheers to Terminator. What's this movie called? Dark Fate. Oh, I was gonna say Dark Water. They want to
Dark
do
Hope.
that. Terminator Hasta La Vista, baby.
The last Schwarzenegger. Yeah, seriously, it should, at this point now, with the new setting in Mexico, just call it Terminator Hasta La Vista, baby.
That's it.
All right, check us out on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Look for us under Cinema Gulp.
And if you like this review, click like and subscribe to the channel today. And for Cinema Gulp, I'm Ben.
And I'm John.
Your
Your cinema!
Your cinema!
Get to the chopper! Drink your cinema!
Place my bed on my rocking machine.